Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the dumbest idea I've had in this channel yet. The decision to make 7 videos in 7 days, all for one series, because I'm excited about something. And I'm also making a guess of when something might release and could fall flat on my face very easily. But who cares? I'm excited. Are you excited? I hope you're excited. How's it going, guys? And welcome to The Road to Champions, the series where I let you know everything you need to know going into a new era of draft with the release of Pokemon Champions. And while yes, we don't know a lot about the game, the metagame that it should lead to is an exciting one, and I plan on outlining that today, as well as giving you a general overview of what I plan to cover over the next week. As you might notice, this video is going out 1 week before Pokemon Day, which is the day where I expect Champions to be released. Therefore, I'm getting everything in the way at a perfect time ahead of its hypothetical release. And if it releases in March, you can come back to this and laugh at me, because I would deserve it. If you guys are looking forward to a new era of draft with the release of Champions, please do let me know by leaving a like, subscribing to the channel, and letting me know how excited you are for what's to come. And without further ado, I want to break down what to expect this week. Champions release likely means that Legends EA is finally going to be compatible to a game where we can actually make a draft format out of. And that's really exciting. That leads to a whole lot of new things that I get the chance to talk about now for the first time. And you will see that over the course of this week. We have this intro video today, and that'll be followed up by tomorrow's video where I'll be joined by 2 guests as we discuss the Natdex metagame and what its effects might have on Champions, as well as some of the megas, the buffs that they've had, and how that might impact Champions based on what's been seen in Natdex. And then, from Monday, we're going to go full ZA spoilers, just as a heads up. So, on Monday, I'm going to talk about some of the new megas that I'm hyped for from a draft perspective. On Tuesday, we're going to go over the megas that I think are going to be ever so slightly too good. And then we're going to take a step away from megas. On Wednesday, I'm going to talk about the mons that I think could be a lot better in Champions format compared to how they are currently in SV. On Thursday, we're going to go over the moveset buffs that we're seeing in ZA and how they might impact draft. And then on Friday, Pokemon Day itself, we are going to react to everything that happens in relation to Champions, and hopefully we have a game to play. Just a quick heads up that I recorded all of this before the information of the Fire Red and Leaf Green ports that are now dropping on Pokemon Day, so I'm now a hell of a lot less sure that Champions is going to drop on Pokemon Day. But hey, I've made all the videos for this week, and if it gets pushed further out, I guess I'll just have to extend the series, huh? We'll make that decision when we get there. So, that is what to expect from me this week. It is a fairly ridiculous commitment on my part, but it's one that I thought, you know what, if you're going to do it right. So go big or go home. And that is the way that I approach a lot of things in life, particularly when it comes to my dumb ideas. And without further ado, now that all the intro and formalities are out of the way, let's get into the meat of this vid, which is me talking about why I'm excited for a new era. Further, can we just shout out Yahoo's for being the absolute goat in terms of actually me having a series logo for this? Yeah, I know, absolutely insane. Thank you again, I do appreciate it. But now it's time to get into why I'm excited for Champions. And it's safe to say that my feelings on SV have been quite mixed throughout the entire generation. It is incredibly volatile, there's so much offense everywhere. Terra is a mechanic of all time that, while yes is very fun to use in building because it allows for very creative strategies, it's also a nightmare to prep for your opponent's Terra options, which sometimes can just be game ending, especially if it's used at the right point and offensively. So, it's safe to say that I'm looking forward to moving on from it, even if it is only just a break. So, what Champions offers is kind of a return to form. A bunch of new megas, new toy syndrome, obviously your megas drafting. I'm an old head, I remember the days where everything was tiered and you drafted 1 mega. Now, obviously, you have the points. You still draft 1 mega, but it doesn't quite feel as special as it did. But these days, I'm really looking forward to a metagame where I can go back to use all these new megas with all their retrospective buffs that have happened over the years, and you combine that with a bunch of new toys that we get to try out for the first time. Also, with a metagame without Terra, it means that it's going to be a lot of a fatter metagame. And that suits me down to the ground, as I am mostly a balanced, bulky offense player, and I have been for a hell of a long time. It's why I don't play SV a ton in team tours, because sometimes it's just not the most comfortable thing for me to be doing. I prefer having my little bit of bulk. I enjoy Toxic in my life. I enjoy Heal Bell being a thing that exists. So those things not really being as prominent in SV just hasn't been fun, and I'm kind of sick and tired of dealing with an offensive threat being, oh, I need to click Encore now. It's actually quite frustrating. So I'm looking forward to that sort of metagame, and it kind of reminds me of Auras in a few ways. And as you guys all know by now, I do enjoy me some Auras, especially at a high level, because it's kind of my go-to tier when it comes to team tours. Auras as a metagame is just quite simple. I know everyone loves to talk about Swish and the lack of mechanics, and while Swish is great, it doesn't have megas, and megas are cool. I think we can all agree that megas are cool. That's why they came back after about 10 years. So, therefore, we kind of get into a state where there's a lot of similarities there. Except, it has the flaws of Auras aren't really there. Obviously, Auras has a giant hazard removal problem, and the existence of heavy duty boots, which I'm assuming to be in this game, kind of brings a more creative element to it. And you combine that with the fact that we potentially do have more removal than we did in Auras that's viable, would be quite nice. Obviously at the time of recording, we don't really know how a Dex will look, and we don't really know what exactly is coming in Season 1. But I'm making a relatively bold assumption that every mon that got a Mega in ZA will be in Season 1 in Champions because of New Toy Syndrome. So, it reminds me of a metagame that I think is going to be really enjoyable. And I know you're probably thinking about this and it's like, TJ, why didn't you play Natdex more? Natdex just never quite sat right with me, even though it's probably a metagame I'd really enjoy. So, I don't know. It's just something I never actually got into in Gen 9. I might have played like a couple games in one league, but that was about it. Didn't really play it a ton. So the idea of Champions and this being the norm, I think really is going to suit right up my alley. And like I said, there's so much to talk about in terms of buffs, in terms of new things to try out, and I'm just looking forward to finally having something new. We haven't had anything new to play with since the end of 2023. That is insane. And especially with the way that SV currently is, that it feels like it's very difficult to free new things. So everything just kind of gets quite trendy. And while yes, people are taking a lot more risks, as I outlined in a video a few weeks ago, that if you missed, I will leave right up there. And yeah, that is my stance on it. I'm really excited. 3 years is a long time dealing with the same thing, especially when you're not, A, dealing with multi-bans, and honestly, Champions, I'm just so glad to have something new. Our solution to Swish having nothing new during this length of time was that there was the introduction of multi-gen leagues, which were some of the most fun leagues I took part in Gen 8, or you did have some new mons unbanned to be tested with. SV did not take the same risks due to just a general sense of like not being sure. And while yes, some leagues did take some risks, leagues just don't feel the same as they used to. That might be a video for another time, but I'll leave that till after this series is concluded. And that concludes episode 1 of The Road to Champions. This will be the shortest video because obviously it's more of an introduction and me just kind of rambling. It's also the simplest one to edit, which is lovely because I feel like I'm going to hate myself with editing over the next while. So I hope you guys will bear with me. If you guys enjoyed this little breakdown of why I'm excited for a new beginning, please do let me know by leaving a like, subscribing to the channel, and leaving a comment. Go on, why not? And yes, I shall see you guys all tomorrow for some Natdex discussions. Peace.